for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess I should have done a quick mic check. Alex, can you hear us? Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Once again, welcome to the BZA meeting for September. Really appreciate everybody's time this evening. Moving right along, we will look to approve the meeting agenda. Before we do that, Adam, any modifications or can we approve it as presented?
No modifications.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I would look for a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the September 25th meeting agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Actually.
Okay. All right. All in favor? Aye. All right. Meeting agenda approved. Next, commission to consider approving minutes of the August 28th, 2025 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the meeting minutes? Any modifications, changes needed at this time? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the August 28th, 2025 meeting minutes.
We'll move to approve the August 28th meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All right, approved. Thank you very much. Moving to number 5, tonight on the agenda is our one public hearing. Case number variance 05-2025 750 West Garden Street. The BZA is to consider a modification to a development standard variance pertaining to the south setback for the Flatrock Self-Storage project. So with that, Adam, would you walk us through the presentation, please?
All right. For the record, I'm Adam Zaklikowski, the Planning and Building Director for the town of Fortville. As you had mentioned in the agenda, tonight you're asked to consider a petition by Don Fisher of Insight Engineering on behalf of AC Matt Holdings for modification to, a development standards variance. This is pertaining to the self-storage project that's under construction known as Flatrock Self-Storage. It's at 750 West Garden. And the entire project consists of about 8.2 acres. And there are 11 self-storage buildings that are under various stages of construction right now. So for this case in particular, back on August 29th, 2024, the BZA approved a variance pertaining to the south setback along the CSX railroad tracks. And if you recall, the BZA allowed 45 feet with some landscaping. However, the applicant has determined based on research that there was an error on the plat concerning the actual location of the railroad right-of-way property. So in reality, it is 8 feet closer to the proposed building. So therefore, to keep the southern building in the same location as they were proposing, they would need a setback of 37 feet instead of 45. The building would not encroach into a 33-foot wide existing Duke Energy easement. And if we take a look at the oblique aerial, you can see here, here are the railroad tracks, here's Broadway, and then Garden Street is up here. Zoning map, you can see it's zoned light industrial. And then this exhibit prepared by Mr. Fisher shows the slight modifications to these lines in terms of where the actual property line is, where the actual utility easement is, and where the building would be. So for this particular request, per the definition of setbacks in the zoning ordinance, although the south side of the property is the rear of the project, it's considered to be a side setback, since Shaw Street or 300 West, which is on the west side of the project, is considered to be a front setback. So Therefore, the minimum side yard setback that would apply in this case is 25 feet. But then all required buffer yard areas shall be provided entirely on the subject property and shall be in addition to setbacks required. The zoning of the railroad tracks and beyond is technically commercial neighborhood zoning. So they would have to have ordinarily a 50-foot total setback area. And then within that area, they'd have to have 2 deciduous trees, 2 evergreen trees per 50 feet, shrubs along 50% of the length, and a 6-foot fence or mound. So they simply want to reduce it to 37 feet. And then for the landscaping, if you recall last year, they would plant these Tannenbaum Mugo pine trees at 8-foot spacing, and they would grow to about 12 feet high. So they would keep that same plan from last year. So in terms of the decision criteria based on Indiana law, as you know, there's 3 different tests. The first one is the general welfare test, that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The second item would be adjacent property, that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. And then the third one is practical difficulty, that the strict application of the terms of the ordinance will result in a practical difficulty in the use of the property. For this particular request, there's no known remonstrance. All of the public hearing information or notification requirements like the newspaper ad, the sign, the mailing, that's all been completed. And so based on that, I believe that it meets all the criteria of those 3 decision items. So I'd recommend that you approve the modified request. With that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them. And then the engineer, Don Fisher, and then the property owner, Tony Matthews, are here in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions for Adam at this time?
Just to be sure I have it clear, Adam, so the change of location of the actual buildings, no change there. The location type of buffer, no change there. It's simply a matter of there was a misunderstanding about where the property line is, and that's the change in the setback.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. And just to give you a little bit more background, the railroad right-of-way that is there has been there obviously for a very long time. And different legal descriptions, I think over the years have been subject to interpretation because there was an interurban line that went there at one time and they had railroad tracks, and then it ultimately became freight rail. So that's ultimately what led to the description. It's just reading these different legal descriptions. But I know that Don did quite a bit of work and researching that to figure out exactly where this line is. And it really came about from a request from Duke Energy, because Duke wanted to see, well, we have power lines that are in close proximity. Where exactly is the easement? So they provided the document that had their 33-foot wide easement. And then lastly, they'll probably end up filing a replat request to clean up the lines and the easement, but it doesn't pertain to this body here tonight.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Adam? Just a quick point of clarification. So the type 3 buffer yard is that going to be in the utility easement?
Yes.
Okay.
And it is also a reduced development standard within the buffer yard. Instead of doing the trees and shrubs, they're looking to simplify and just do those pine trees that are back there. And again, that's based on the location. It's not as if there's a residential property right next door, but they do want to provide, and the town wants to see some greenery back there as the area matures. And so that seemed to be the best solution.
Okay. Appreciate it. Any other questions for Adam? Okay, we have time in our agenda for the petitioner to speak on behalf of the case if you'd like to. If you'd like to come up and say your name and how you represent the case, if there's anything else to add beyond what was presented in the presentation, we would welcome it.
My name is Don Fisher with Insight Engineering. And Adam did a good job of presenting this, that when we came in before to do the variances, we actually got delayed while we worked out things with Duke Energy. And that's how we came upon the tree line or the mugo pines, because they require, they require us to not put something that they have to trim later. And so that's how that happened. And the railroad came through in the early 1800s, across open land essentially. And it was one track. And the problem is the descriptions were from the center line of the right of ways. And since there was two tracks since the early 1900s, everybody thought that meant between the two tracks. And actually the center line is on the north line, track line. That's where the error came. And so every survey, every plat since like 1915 has been wrong.
Wow. Goodness.
And I actually got the original railroad documents from the National Archives, which showed what the actual right of way was. So that's how we all figured this out. And so we're leaving the building exactly positioned relative to the world as it was. It's still in the same position. Duke analyzed versus their power lines. And so it was just a matter of, can we change the lines to match and not have to redesign the whole project to make that work? So any questions?
Yeah, any questions for Commissioner? Well, appreciate the due diligence on this for sure. That's a very interesting dig, I'm sure, that as you were going through that. All right, we have time on our agenda for public comment, public response. If anybody would like to speak for or against the case, we have time in the agenda. I don't know if anybody is on Zoom. If you are, please unmute yourself and speak up. Looks like just Alex. Okay. All right. Well, we also have time on our agenda for government officials to speak on behalf of the case if there's anything. All right. See you shaking the head. All right. Any other questions for the petitioner, for Adam at this time? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the variance as presented or with conditions. Approve, deny, or excuse me, approve with conditions, or deny the motion for the variance at 750 West Garden Street.
I'll move to approve as presented.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries 4-0. Congratulations. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Again, really do appreciate the due diligence. We can clean this up, and I think this will work out well. So looking forward to the project coming to the town. All right, clean up our paperwork. We have time in our agenda for board comments. Any comments at this time? Okay, staff comments.
None for me, unless you have questions on anything.
I think we're good.
Thank you.
As always. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Adam, Sarah. Really appreciate it. With that, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All right. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned at 6:44. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great evening.
Thanks, Alex.
Take care, guys.
All righty.